Welcome to More Fanime. I'm your fan of more anime. What is up, everybody? Today, I'm going to be taking a deep dive. I'm going to be reviewing the 25 chapters of BLEACH that I read this week, which are 201 to 225. Yeah! We are past 200 chapters of BLEACH, people. And I told myself at the beginning of this journey, if you weren't into it by chapter 100, drop it. Move on. It's just not worth it. But I'm into it. And to be honest with you, I'm thinking these last 50 chapters or so could be the best BLEACH has to offer so far. It's been a steady build. There hasn't been much drop off after the Soul Society arc that I assumed there'd be a lot of a lull afterwards, where they're all going back to high school, doing the whole anime high school hijinks. But not really. They do go back to school for a hot minute, but trouble follows them back to the human world rather quickly. But before I get into spoiler territory, if you haven't read the BLEACH manga, then you are missing out, because BLEACH is an amazing story so far. I'm only 225 chapters in, but that's nearly a third of the way through. And I gotta say, even if you just read up to this point, you're gonna have a good time. Hopefully there isn't a huge drop-off in quality at the end. I've been warned that there might be. But other than that, I'm pretty spoiler-free myself. I really didn't know much going in other than there's Shinigami, or Soul Reapers, who hunt hollows, and that was about it. And it seems to have expanded tenfold after chapter 200. It seems like we're in the middle of a war now. Before, we weren't really in a war. We were rescuing Rukia from the evil Soul Society. But now it really feels like a war. We're taking on the Aaron card, which I believe we met in the last 25 chapters. These hollows that have been turned into Soul Reapers? Am I getting that right? That's kind of the gist of what I've gotten from this so far. That the villains of this story, for the most part, I don't think Aizen is, or any of the... I don't think Aizen was a hollow beforehand, but I could be wrong. If it is, maybe later we'll find out that Aizen was at one time a advanced hollow that turned himself into a Soul Reaper and then infiltrated the Soul Society and had his big Aizen plan and whatnot, and then decided, I'm going to make other hollows into Soul Reaper, or give them the power of Soul Reapers. It's interesting. It's like they're not necessarily Soul Reapers, but they're not hollows. They're somewhere in between. And then these last 25 chapters, we got to meet them at the beginning of, or the end of the last 25 chapters. But these 25 chapters that I read, 201 to 225, we get to really learn a little bit more about the Visored, which I looked it up just to be sure I got the definition correctly. The Visored, or Vizards, are a group of Shinigami, or Soul Reapers, that have acquired hollow powers. Either way, they are Soul Reapers who have acquired the power of hollows. So they're the opposite of Aaron Card, which is very interesting. But they're using the same ability that we've seen Ichigo use, where he's able to create like half of a hollow mask, and then he starts changing. His eyes turn black, and he gets more power, but he loses control of who he is. And it's been a whole, give and take for him. It's helped him in his battles here and there. Like, it does help and makes sense that he progressed so quickly and become, with Bankai and whatnot. But during the Soul Society arc, he progressed so quickly to the point where I was like, how is he still moving? He got his ass beat by Kenpachi, and then a few days later, he's going head to head with Byakuya. I was losing my shiz. I was like, I guess he just can heal quickly, or time moves differently in the Soul Society. But it seems like he's gotten a little bit of a help. He's kind of got the Biju inside inside of him like Naruto does. He's got that demon within him that gives him that extra boost when he gets a little, when he starts to lose or get a little emotional or one of his friends gets hurt right in front of his eyes. The whole shonen protag sitch for our boy Ichigo, but I like the way this one's rolling. It's like an evil, hollow version of him is within him. But the Visered is not connected to the Aaron card. Like, they're not one group. When I first met Shinji, I believe his name is, the leader of the Visered, I thought that they were trying to recruit Ichigo to join Aizen. But it seems like, and maybe that was on purpose, but it seems like they're trying to recruit Ichigo to teach him to use his hollowification ability to increase his power so he can go head-to-head with Aizen. Hopefully that's the plan. I can't imagine that these Visered are that evil. If that's they would have joined Aizen if they were on his side. And I think they would have told Ichigo that was the plan. I'm not sure. Their plan must be to take down Aizen and his squad of Aaron card. We get to see most of the Soul Reapers who came to Earth to help get Ichigo ready for the battle with the Aaron card and help, protect Earth of sorts, that living realm, protect the living. We get to see Ikkaku have a major, 3 chapters fighting an Aaron card in a badass battle. We find out that Ikkaku has the power of the Bankai. And I'm like, where was this power when he went head to head with Ichigo? I had no idea this guy, Ikkaku, was that important to the overall fighting scene of this story. I knew he was a follower and a subordinate of Kenpachi, but we get to find out that he's got a little bit of a backstory going on for him. Quick little backstory about how he lost to Kenpachi years ago, which inspired him to become a Soul Reaper and also mostly to follow Kenpachi and eventually fight him again down the line and, learn from this guy that he, lost to and earned his, honor and whatnot. So I was really impressed by Ikkaku. He kicked ace, took names. He actually protected one of Ichigo's classmates, the dude that's kind of a goofball, kind of just there at school sometimes, has not been used at all, really. I'm not even going to bother to look up his name. I'll put a picture up here of him. Ichigo's classmate. This dude is just kind of an annoying friend of his that Ichigo doesn't even seem to want to ever hang out with this kid, but he's always talking to him like they're buddies. It seems like he might have something more going on for him, because when the Aaron card come to Earth, they show that this kid has got spiritual energy. Was it because he's friends with Ichigo, or is it something else? Is he related to somebody? Does he have some kind of spiritual bloodline behind him that's making him a target of Aizen's crew, squad of Aaron card? And I'm interested to see what happens next, but Ikkaku protected that boy from an Aaron card, and that kid decided to allow Ikkaku and his buddy, his teammate, who I do not remember his name, stay with them. So Renji, my boy, Toshinori, and Rengoku all get major moments in battle against some of the lower Aaron card who came here with the new main villain general guy, Grimmjow. Grimmjow's the one who decided to attack the living world without any permission from Aizen. Grimmjow is the only one that came there that's part of the top 10 Aaron card, so he's important. But every one of the others that seemed badass and had really cool character designs, the other Aaron card, just got obliterated and murdered by the other, reaped by the Soul Reapers. Renji and Toshinori and was it Rengoku? They all pull out their Bankai ability. And I've noticed now, I thought Rengoku had like a sand type ability with her Zanpakuto, but it seems more like ash. Like she's got some kind of ash, like cigarette ash type thing. That's her weapon. That I think it's pretty interesting, because I can't recall any main protagonists in an anime having ash as their weapon. Fire maybe, but not ash. But they use their Bankai, and they are losing at first. And I'm thinking, whoa, these Aaron cards aren't even the top 10, and they're beating some of the best, some of the captains and or vice captains from the Soul Society. And I'm thinking, oh shit, they're going to have some work ahead of them. I almost find it unbelievable that they could ever compare to someone like Aizen if these are just the foot soldiers. But luckily, it was all kind of them playing possum in a way, because Rengoku gets on the phone with the Soul Society and says, hey, we've been wearing these badges that basically take 80% of our power and doesn't allow us to use it in the real world, and we need to take those off. It kind of seemed ridiculous. It was like, obviously, you're going to die. Take off those badges that are reducing your power. But they needed permission, which is fair. It's like any like police force or whatnot. You need permission to use lethal force. But if you're about to die, you might want to use it anyway and then ask for permission later. It's one of those situations where maybe they didn't need to do that. Maybe Renji and Toshi and Rengoku were just trying to act bait-ish and really throw these guys off and get some information from them first, get beat up a little bit. But they got beat up a lot a bit. Toshinori got effed up. We learned a little bit more about Toshinori's ability. His little ice flowers seem to have something to do with how much power he has. He's got a shit ton of power, by the way. His ice dragon wing thing is pretty sick. Like, really, he's probably my second favorite ice-using anime character at this point. And he's only been in a small percentage of this manga so far. And I feel like there's big things for Toshi down the line. And I love his relationship with Rengoku. It is hilarious and just super comforting in a way. Them as a pair, I like them together. They're really fun together. And then Renji, you know, after kicking Ace and taking names, he decides at one point during these 25 chapters that he has a question to ask Kisuka, Hat and Clogs, Urahara. And Urahara tells him, okay, hey, I got Chad here. Chad's very sad because he's a jobber. He's not a main character here. He's not really strong anymore when he first was when he fought Hollows. He doesn't really match up to you guys. We have a war coming. Chad wants to get stronger, Renji, and you want some information from me. So how about this? We'll do a trade. You train Chad. I'll, watch, supervise it, sort of, because he was kind of watching their training. And maybe you can teach Chad to use Bankai? I didn't even realize that Chad's ability had anything to do with the Soul Reaper's powers. But it seems like he's going to have his own transformation, like a Bankai type transformation. That's what I got from that conversation. Even Urahara didn't really quite understand Chad's powers. He puts that armor on his arm and he can throw, spirit fists at his opponent, which is interesting, but I haven't really got a full explanation to why Chad can do this. Yes, he's a sweet boy, but that doesn't equal magical spirit energy powers. I know he's friends with Ichigo, who puts off that kind of power to unlock it for him and his girl, Urahime, who also gets a major bump. Like, she's not even training, and somehow she is the greatest healer alive. She's able to heal Toshinori's lethally scratched up wounds where he's just bleeding profusely. Quickly, it seems like from what I got from the last 25 chapters is that she heals by turning back time on an injury. That's what I'm getting from it. So she doesn't just heal, she can just turn back time on somebody that got injured, which is wild. But during the battle with Grimmjow, actually Ichigo ends up battling Grimmjow and getting his ass kicked, and the only way he was even able to withstand anything that came from Grimmjow, the only way he was even able to injure Grimmjow was by using his holification powers, and he only used it a small percentage because he didn't want it to take over. He didn't want the evil mask to take his mind over. He didn't want to hurt nobody that he loved. Of course, Rukia shows up and helps Ichigo out with one of the basic-ass errand card before Grimmjow shows up, and she shows off that she's got like a snow Zanpakuto of sorts. She's got some kind of snow blade And that's cool. I think that's a cool power. It makes sense for her. I'm super stoked. Finally, we get to see Rukia in action. I can't believe the author, I think it's Kubo. I can't believe the author waited over 200 chapters to show us Rukia in action with her Zanpakuto. I almost believe that maybe she just lost her powers forever. And maybe she would never fight again, and she'd just kind of be the mentor to Ichigo. And maybe eventually they could share power. Who knows? Possibly. But I really do like the fact that she's back in the fray. She's back in the fights, and she shows off that she's no weakling either. She's a legit vice captain, and I think that down the line when she starts to actually get some training in, I don't know if she knows how to use Bankai, but I cannot wait to see Rukia use Bankai, because I imagine it's going to be some kind of snowy field of death. Or it could be maybe a healing type Bankai. I don't know. She is more of a support character, but I do hope she's more of a fighter down the line. She played her role as manager to Ichigo. It's time for something new. It's time for Rukia to take off and take that spotlight from Ichigo for a hot minute. And I mean, think about it. Rukia is our main female protagonist. I would say next to Ichigo, she's probably the second most important character to the story. And we're following her story just as much as we're following Ichigo's story. But she takes out one of the Aaron card. Ichigo's a little flustered. He still can't use all his power because he doesn't want to release that damn mask. The blind guy from the Soul Society shows up who went with Aizen. He gets Grimmjow and he's like, you got all those, I think it was 10, maybe less, 10 Aaron card killed by coming here without Aizen or my permission. You did this ridiculous plan. We lost good soldiers. That could have been something special. He was pretty pissed. He's all about order. He tells him, we're coming back to Aizen. You're going to be punished. And it was pretty brutal. It was nuts. And he does bring him to Aizen, but Aizen's like, hey, I understand. You're just trying to do good for the cause. You're cool. Blind guy didn't like that. He ends up cutting Grimmjow's damn arm off. And I'm thinking these two are going to fight it out to the death, and Grimmjow's going to win and take this dude's spot on the Council of Badassery. But this is when Aizen has to put the daddy foot down and say, you two boys, stop fighting now. We're going to figure this out later. Grimmjow, pick up your arm. But I think he burned his arm completely. Grimmjow could be one-armed from this point on, and I hope not, because I do feel like if he loses to Ichigo later, now that he's lost a limb, it almost feels like a cop-out, like an asterisk in the books of wins for our boy Ichigo. But I guess it's okay as long as Ichigo beats Aizen in the end. We get to see Jin for a hot minute. He's still being sneaky. I thought maybe when we found out that Jin, is it Gin or Jin? Write down in the comments. But we found out that he's a villain and he's like Aizen's number 2 guy, I thought maybe that we'd learn more about him and his backstory. But I'm starting to get really interested in him though, because the fact that he's still kind of sneaky on the bad guy side makes me think that maybe he's a secret spy. I think I mentioned this before, but I think Jin could be a secret spy for the Soul Society. He's just been undercover this whole time. He's like, what's my role? You're going to be an asshole. We got Jin. We got the Aaron card preparing. They're preparing for, guess what? 3 to 4 months. They're coming in the winter, from what we hear. Because apparently Aizen, the old man who runs the Soul Society, he decided to give Toshinori a call through this giant, crazy television thing from the Soul Society that they put in Orihime's house, because Toshinori and Ringaku are staying with Orihime. And it's this giant, TV-looking thing. It almost seems like it'd be better for them to come up with some kind of walkie-talkie. But he ends up on screen telling Toshinori, telling Ringaku, telling Orihime, hey, guys, I found out Aizen's plan. He's trying to get this key made. This key that opens the door to the king of the soul realm. or the rich people. I don't know, the king of the soul realm is what I got from it. And he wants to assassinate the kings of the soul realm, who basically run everything. They don't really tell the soul society what to do, but they're kind of the top diggity dogs. They are the celestial dragons of this universe, if you're a One Piece fan. And he must be wanting to do some kind of a coup, kill them, take power, rule everything, all life of existence is what I'm getting from that. Evil, evil, evil. So they have a finite amount of time to get ready. They realize that they all need to be at least as strong as Grimmjow to even stand a chance. We get to see Kenpachi during these chapters, which is, well, we get to see like a vision of Kenpachi, which really confused me. Ichigo ends up joining the Wizards with Shinji and Shinji's girlfriend and the rest of his crew. They're there and they end up beating the shit out of Ichigo, unlocking his holification abilities, where he had to go inside of his mind again while his body fought the Wizards. It was a whole training exercise, very similar to the way he trained with Hat and Clogs, Kisake. But this time it seemed like Ichigo was completely out of control, and the spirit inside of his sword had changed into an evil version of him, and he's like, I am your sword now. Like, I want to be the leader. I want to be the king. You'll be my horse. I'll control your body. You don't control my power anymore. I'm stronger than you. I will not let you ride on my back to the top. He tells Ichigo basically, you need to have a killing instinct to be in charge. You gotta be willing to kill. You have to be willing to be a badass, to be a soul reaper. You cannot talk your way out of these fights anymore, Ichigo. They end up having a really cool fight. Eventually, Ichigo gets stabbed. He grabs his opponent's blade, he's got a white version of his Zanpakuto. Ichigo's. He ends up putting his spirit energy into it. Ichigo ends up winning the battle. He does have a vision, like I mentioned, of Kenpachi giving him inspiration, saying, you gotta be a badass. Stop worrying. Stop overthinking it, basically. Ichigo does. Now he can somewhat, for a few seconds, control his power of holification, but it's only for a short-term amount of time, and it seems like every day he'll be getting longer and longer amounts of time in his soul, holification form, which actually looks pretty badass. I wasn't too fond of the mask idea at first, because it kind of covers up the facial expressions of a character. You can't see their, what's going on in their minds. But this is anime. Even the mask can give off facial expressions in certain aspects of this. And it's not always on his face. Half the time, it's halfway on his face. Either way, Orihime shows up to the Wizards' secret base, which they're keeping, sealed with shields. She's able to walk right in. And they even mention a regular Soul Reaper couldn't just walk right in. They didn't even break it. They slipped through the shields. And she explains to Ichigo, hey, we got 3 to 4 months, sometime this winter. Winter is coming. Aizen is coming, Ichigo. What are we going to do? Ichigo goes, all right, well, I'm already training here. Like, before you even said that, I kind of assumed bad things were going to come. So I'm ahead of you. Orihime, but thanks for the time frame. I actually was worried we were going to have like 3 days, like last time with Byakuya. This is great. So I'm hoping that Ichigo will finish his training, master holification, and he'll be able to at least compete with Grimmjow. I almost feel like he shouldn't be able to beat Aizen just yet. Aizen needs to be the end goal. Aizen is the Frieza. He is the mastermind of this whole situation. Aizen needs to be taken down by like a group or a sacrifice, like a Kenpachi sacrifice. Kenpachi's already badass. If he can unlock Bankai, Kenpachi might be able to take down Aizen. I'm putting it down right here. He might end up dying in the process, but I'm here for it. Kenpachi's my favorite character, and I want him to die with honor, saving the universe. Let Ichigo take down Grimmjow. Very honorable as well. And he can live afterwards. But I could see Kenpachi joining the fray, and I feel like he will bust out some kind of new blade of his. Even if it's not Bankai, he'll come up with some kind of other badass new attack that'll help them fight. Because there's no way his subordinates or his his co-captains and whatnot are just going to be there when he's not going to join this war. And I bet by then Byakuya will be all healed up. He'll be ready to fight as well. And he'll probably have some new cherry blossom blade of sorts that can help out. Imagine the team up. Ichigo, Kenpachi, and Byakuya versus Aizen. That would be a good fight. I think that Renji deserves a massive fight as well. He's got some kind of storyline going on for him. He wants to know some kind of mystery, or he wants Kisuke to help him unlock a new form of sorts. And, they didn't even touch on this. Ichigo's dad is a badass Soul Reaper as well, so he could join the fray. Could you imagine a father-son team-up against Aizen? No, that would be interesting. I could see Ichigo finding out that his dad is a Soul Reaper or a former Soul Reaper, and then his dad makes the ultimate sacrifice, giving Ichigo the power of love to beat Aizen in the very end. I'd be okay with that. I mean, it's a little cliche, but it's okay. Father-son Kamehameha blade slice. I'm here for it. I'm here for that. Ichigo's growing on me as a main pro-tag. There's so many good things from Bleach. Very little bad to say, other than just a few minor details that seem a little cliche. But I'm excited that Chad isn't just going to be written out of the story because he got too weak. He's actually going to train. He's actually going to get stronger. My prediction, that he gets a full bodysuit of that armor that he grows on his one arm. And he'll have more defense when he's getting attacked, and maybe he won't get his arm ripped off. Hopefully. Somehow Orihime just has amazing healing abilities. Great. She's our white mage. We're going to need her because I feel like someone's going to die. If nobody dies in this war, I'll be a little disappointed. I think that somebody needs to die. Doesn't mean we can't see them ever again. I hope it does, just because, finite deaths mean more to me in these series. I think Kenpachi would be a perfect candidate for that. Byakuya would be good as well. I almost think Byakuya should have died when Aizen left, when he took off, and he was basically almost defeated by him. So I think that would have been interesting, because then they wouldn't have Byakuya to back them up in this big war. It does seem like the odds are stacked against them. I am excited. I'm hoping that, if this is over 600 chapters, there's got to be even more to this than just this battle with Aizen. And then we have to include this other group, the Wizards, who seem to have a lot of members. It's 10 at least. Some of them seem interesting. Some of them seem pointless. There's a girl that's part of the crew that I mentioned, I believe is Shinji's girlfriend or friend. And she seems badass. Gives me a lot of Android 18 type vibes. She and Ichigo's relationship is absolutely hilarious. How they just yell at each other. How they're both hard-headed and they both just can't get along. But they're training together just made me literally laugh out loud. If I miss anything of importance, I'm really enjoying Bleach, and I really don't understand the hate that it gets from the other, anime communities that I've seen. I've seen people put Bleach down. They don't consider it a part of the big three, but I think it pulls its weight. I think it's easily up there. These Bankais are so badass, and I'm almost worried that now he's going to have to top himself. They're going to have to unlock Bankai 2, which will be twice as powerful. This is More Fanime. What did you think of this review? Don't forget to comment down below. Let me know what you thought. Give me a like. Give me a share. I'll talk to you later.